Is this Dandadan's worst character? Jiji has been a divisive character ever since his introduction. You do warm up to him and manga fans will tell you he's one of the best characters, but look at the community and you'll see Jiji is at the center of constant heated discussions. The problem is that Jiji is a great romantic rival at first, but eventually becomes a painfully irrelevant character whose very presence in the story divides the community, which is frustrating because he has the potential to be the single best character in the manga. So in this video, I'd like to go over Jiji's initial role in the story, explain why he's become the most problematic character, and share what I think is holding him back from being the most important character in Dandadan. Just be warned that this will contain some spoilers. So by now, you should already know that Jiji is Momo's childhood friend. He comes in right after the big fight against the aliens at school, and right away he and Momo have this enchanting exchange. At which point Seiko explains to Okarun that Jiji is Momo's first ever crush. Soon after, we learn that Jiji was in fact one of the kids that teased Momo for her little ritual when she was little. So the second we meet Jiji, we already have two reasons not to like him. One, because he was one of Momo's bullies and he already crushed her heart. But more importantly, he is immediately presented as a major romantic threat to Okarun. I mean, let's be real. The guy's basically Mr. Perfect. Sure, he might have been a bully before, but he admits right away that he was a jerk. He's tall, he's handsome, funny, kind of the perfect package. So, understandably, if you're someone like Okarun who does have unspoken Rizz, but is also a small shrimpy dork who only just met Momo, it's easy to feel intimidated. Naturally, you can see why someone reading Dandadan for the first time might be inclined to dislike Jiji. Well, dislike probably isn't the right word so much as distrust, but we'll talk about that difference later in the video. So anyway, it's easy to see why Jiji is a problem. He made fun of Momo in the past even though he apologizes for it, and he threatens Okarun's chances with Momo, which is kind of the whole point of Dandadan, so really Jiji feels like a major threat. But notice how I call him a romantic rival and never, let's say, an antagonist. That's because Jiji eventually shows us why he's actually one of the best things that ever could have happened to Okarun. First of all, his presence in the story immediately strengthens Okarun's resolve. After witnessing the relationship between Taro and Hana, Okarun realizes how much he cares for Momo, and that he really needs to fight for her. So just by being around them, Jiji makes Okarun and Momo's relationship stronger, even while posing a threat. But even more importantly, Jiji serves as Okarun's first real guy friend. Actually, before I say more on that, make sure to like the video if you're enjoying it so far. It's the easiest way to support the channel, and it helps spread the video to other viewers like you. Anyway, Jiji becomes friends with Okarun pretty quickly, even though Okarun doesn't plan on it. When the three of them are on the train, Okarun decides he needs to dominate the conversation with Momo. So he does what any man does when he wants to win over a girl. He brings up random nerdy trivia. But instead of winning over Momo, he actually wins over Jiji. Okarun brings up the Tsuchinoko, and Jiji starts talking about how there's a myth about a giant snake. Okarun talks about some Cappy mummy, and Jiji blows up with curiosity and starts asking all kinds of questions. Then, as the two of them have fun talking about monsters, Jiji says that he would naturally be friends with Okarun since they're both friends with Momo. At this point, Okarun realizes that no matter how hard he tries, he just can't hate Jiji. And this is pretty much confirmed in the next chapter when the two of them play soccer. Jiji confronts Okarun by asking if he likes Momo. From here, the two characters get into an argument about who likes Momo the most. But, as you can see, it's all in good fun. They push each other, but nobody hurts the other. Exactly like two friends pushing each other. Hence why Jiji is a rival rather than an antagonist. So in this moment, we see why Jiji is such a good character. He likes Momo, but this tension provides a rivalry that pushes Okarun to grow, strengthens his relationship with Momo, and gives him his first male friend. So add all that, plus the fact that Jiji is one of the funniest characters and the most chill character in the story, and Jiji would be the single best character. But there's a problem. So after this point, there's a big monster fight and there's an evil pale ghost. You know, the usual Dandadan crap. But after this arc, we see very clearly that Momo is very much into Okarun, not Jiji. At the same time, we also get this panel of Okarun pushing Jiji that has generated one of the most popular memes in the fandom. And this panel kind of illustrates the problem with Jiji. See, Momo and Okarun are clearly very much a thing. It's obvious to us as the readers, and while they never come right out and say it, it's obvious to everyone else. I mean, Jiji even said it after 5 minutes of meeting Okarun. That being said, Jiji is still crushing on Momo. I mean, like saying she's precious to him on a number of occasions, and even thinking about how much he likes her when she falls asleep. So clearly, it's a big deal. The problem is that we all know Momo is into Okarun, not Jiji, and it's been this way for at least 100 chapters. So when everyone clearly knows Momo and Okarun are a thing, and you still have Jiji crushing on Momo, it's annoying to say the least. But not only is Jiji apparently in denial, people in the fan base are in denial as well. In fact, I've seen some people argue that Jiji isn't even in love with Momo, that when he says "you're precious to me," he's saying it as a friend. So really, Jiji is the source of two debates in the community. On the one hand, people are fighting over whether he's even still in love with Momo, which, in my opinion, I think Tatsu is leaving open on purpose. And to be honest, I'm not crazy about it. See, Dandadan is a romance, and for a time, Jiji was the only person who posed a threat to Okarun. Plenty of girls have flirted with Okarun like Ira, who we will talk about again in just a minute. But like, Okarun has never been interested in any of them. He does get embarrassed, but there's a big difference between getting embarrassed and falling in love. Meanwhile, there was a serious question of whether Momo had feelings for Jiji. Granted, we did see Momo get self-conscious when she caught Okarun and Ira, but that was a misunderstanding. Okarun had plenty of reason to feel intimidated by Jiji. So for a time, Jiji was the biggest threat to Okarun and Momo's relationship. But once their relationship progresses, that threat starts to fade away. My theory is that Tatsu is purposefully leaving it open and deliberately making things ambiguous in order to sustain that same tension, which we can already see by all of these will they won't they debates. In my opinion, this is kind of a lame way to create tension, but I'll explain why that is in just a second. And I know that's like the third time I've said that, but here's where I'd like to expand on all of this. So one reason Jiji is a problem is because his actions are annoyingly ambiguous. But the bigger problem that nobody's really talking about is the fact that Jiji's actions feel like a betrayal. See, Jiji and Okarun are supposed to be close friends. They're supposed to be bros. Granted, it was made very clear that they both like Momo. That being said, I'm pretty sure there's a scene where Jiji acknowledges the relationship between Momo and Okarun. I'm pretty sure there's a chapter where he teases Momo about it, but I might be wrong. Even ignoring that, Jiji might be a goofball, but he isn't stupid. He knows Okarun likes Momo, and he hangs around them enough that he should realize they're kind of a thing. So considering all of that, it's somewhat two-faced of him to still feel the way he does about Momo and be sneaky about it. Like he either tries to downplay it, or he opens up whenever Okarun isn't around. And to that you might say, okay, well what about Ira? She and Momo are friends and they both like Okarun. Is she being two-faced? Well, the difference there is that Ira and Momo already have that kind of dynamic. They're kind of like Sakura and Ino, where they both fight over Sasuke because they're both so similar. So it's no harm, no foul. Plus, Ira doesn't flirt with Okarun like Jiji does with Momo. Ira is very surface level, like saying how handsome he is or how brave he is and this and that. Jiji will be like, wow, you mean so much to me, and this and that. It's a much more emotionally serious kind of flirting. So it feels like a betrayal because you would think Jiji would just be honest about it if he's such good friends with Okarun. And this is where the ambiguity becomes a problem, because if Tatsu wasn't so hung up on this, Jiji would just be honest. A great example of how to do this exact same dynamic comes from Komi-san. Now, I'm assuming you intellectuals aren't caught up on the Komi-san manga, so I won't give away any spoilers. But someone, one of Komi's friends, develops a crush for Tadano. So, without realizing it, both girls fall in love with him. When they find out what's going on, they talk it out and promise to be honest with each other and themselves, deciding that they'll respect whoever Tadano chooses to be with. Here you have the exact same situation. Two friends like the same person. They obviously like their friend, but they also want to date that other person and be honest about their feelings. Now, I'm not saying Tatsu should copy Komi-san bar for bar, but what I'm getting at is that it's so much better when you give the characters the opportunity to face each other about a situation that, let's face it, should be obvious to everyone involved. And this is why I have a big problem with the fact that Jiji's feelings for Momo are being dealt with in this wishy-washy way. He starts out clearly liking Momo, but now he's at this point where he just keeps saying basically the same thing, even though Momo clearly doesn't feel the same way. Which brings me to my theory for what Tatsu should do. Now again, let me be clear, I am not Tatsu, and I do not know what's best for his story. That being said, Jiji is a hilarious character with the insane powers of both the Evil Eye and his spiritual abilities. He kind of has a connection to Evil Eye, and his spirit powers are progressing. So what I think should happen is that Jiji just come clean to Okarun and Momo so they can hash things out and say what's on everyone's mind. At that point, Jiji can have a proper character arc and grow into his amazing powers. He has the potential to be the best character, but at the rate he's going, Jiji may very well become Dandadan's most problematic character. But now I'd like to hear what you think. How would you rate Jiji? What are your theories for his character arc? Share your thoughts and see what everyone else has to say down in the comments. I'll pick my favorite and share it as comment of the week on my community tab. And if you'd like to join me for more discussions like this one, then make sure to check out my live streams every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. In those live streams, I react to new chapters, as well as discuss other anime and manga topics. Also, make sure to check out my other Dandadan videos, which you can find in the playlist linked right here. Until then, thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon.